1. We are live in San Diego, Mission Valley, beautiful San Diego, California. What is going on, Haley Collier?
What's up, Ryan? We are here with another weekly wrap-up of kind of what we're seeing out there, what's going on in the market, title talk, that kind of stuff. So we are back again for another Friday for your viewing.
Yes, Ticor Title Talk, the weekly real estate wrap-up. And I think it's appropriate right now we listen to Rob Dial podcast, surprise, and it was negativity bias, and I was really impacted by this. It meant a lot to us. It's appropriate given economic turmoil in all markets and all spaces, including San Diego real estate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we hear this term like negativity bias. Like, what does that mean? I'll give that to Ryan because he's the science major guy over here.
Well, it has to do with the amygdala, and it goes way back to caveman days, but it's basically negativity bias is the mind drawing a bigger emotional impact, emotional response to negative events, because we are trained for survival tactics to identify threats and give them higher importance on the scale of what we pay attention to and where our focus goes than we are positive events. Initially, to keep us alive, like if there's a saber-toothed tiger, we identify it as a threat, let's stay away, or if we eat that one kind of berry on that one kind of bush, people tend to die. So it drills that into you with fear, with a fight or flight response to those negative events. And that, because of that, we have this negative tendency towards negativity, and we have a natural tendency towards negativity, which creates the negativity bias.
Right, so for normal folks like me, to break that down, it pretty much means when you focus on the negative, that's all you see is the negative. And it really emotionally impacts us, and it makes it that negative moment or that negative event that happened be the biggest thing that's going on. So, you hear things going on in our market about how inventory is so low, and it's like freaking street fights right now to get buyers in escrow, and people are coming out of escrow and they're saying, oh, we're just gonna wait, and all these different negative things that are going on. And so it really makes us hyper focus on that. But when we can switch up the lens to, I like to say our rose colored glasses and focus on the opportunities and the positive that's out there, it helps really change that negative bias that our mind automatically goes to, because that's the easiest path. That's the path of least resistance for our mind to go to, is just, let's just be negative and focus on that, and then we don't have to worry about everything else that we have grateful in our life, because that's where our mind goes.
It's just our biology, literally the brain chemistry is working against us. It's trained to work in this negative bias and put the filter that we see things through and identify threats first, good stuff later. Right. So there's no shortage of threats, fear-based thinking, scarcity all around us at all times, really, but especially when our professional lives, our physical lives, our family lives, all of these things, it's easy to start spinning out of control towards the negative. So we just have to observe and understand the fact that the biomechanics of our brain are set up with this slant. So if we're slanted in the negative direction, it would make sense that we might want to offset that.
Right. Well, and I go to think too, just being completely vulnerable and open moments for sales in our business. We're all in sales. We get a text or a call saying, hey, this client that's used us for X amount of time, who we thought we had a great relationship with, started using another person, and then our mind starts to go into a spiral of, what could we have done better? And, oh, this client did that too, and all these other things start to go. And, Ryan and I have to kind of slap each other out of it and be like, focus on all our clients that love us, all our clients that appreciate us, the people that we will go to bat for, the people that will go to bat for us or go to the mat for us, and really fight for us to be on every transaction, because they really appreciate what we do for them and really help them get through some turmoil transactions and help them with different aspects of the business. So that's where we go into that as well, and we just have to reshift our focus and focus on, we have amazing clients. People out there love us. We love us. I love Ryan. We have each other. We love Katie. We have a group, and we have each other's backs, and we know that we will go to war for each other, and there's other people out there that will do that for us as well. So that's just complete vulnerability in the moment, we get that too.
It's just whose turn in the barrel or whose turn on the ledge is it going to be today that we talk the other one off the ledge.
Yeah.
And we're not alone. We're all subject to the human experience here, and fear, emotional response, all of that stuff is part of the deal. And it helped me to drill it in to know that my brain is set up that way. My brain is literally trained to identify threats first. So knowing that and having that information, I can take a beat, I can take a deep breath, and I can say, this isn't real. This is my brain seeing one thing, and now all it sees is potential threats. So this one disgruntled client or a stray client, if you will, now they're all strays, right? Now it goes to the nth degree. And so it's important to understand that that slant exists, but how do we counteract it? What can we do to put the table at least even, and if not stack the cards to our benefit? Well, we can do certain practices and certain simple routines. Again, routines. We never talk about routines.
I see a pattern here. Is this yeah.
Is to get to the point where we got those rose-colored glasses on, or at least are seeing things as neutral and not skewed towards the negative side. So what can we do? We can move our bodies, right? We can get the brain drugs working in our favor, because what happens when we identify a threat, we get a shot of cortisol. Cortisol is the fear hormone that says, hey, pay attention to this, you're in danger. And what do? You fight, flight, or freeze, okay? So you fight, or you just get the heck out of here, or you freeze. And so many of us are freezing in this market because interest rates are this, and there's no inventory that, and agents aren't working, lenders can't do loans, all the things that cause us to paralyze our efforts instead of getting into action and doing the things we know that will generate the results we need.
Well, and like one thing, so like moving your body, changing your physiology, changing where you're at, taking a walk outside, those kind of things, being in the sun, that releases endorphins. So that automatically changes that cortisol shot that you have to now being like, okay, I'm still alive. There is no saber-toothed tiger coming to get me. I just had a moment where the file went sideways or something happened, but if we can change where we're at and have those natural endorphins and dopamines going, then that changes that kind of quick cortisol shot. So another thing that we practice a lot, and this is part of our routine, hate to bring that word up again, but we really want to give you guys ways to help kind of counteract this market we're in, but practicing mindfulness, practicing how grateful we are to, one, be in San Diego, California, one of the most beautiful cities. I mean, it's called America's finest city for a reason. Like, it is gorgeous. I don't know if you guys have looked outside, but we got the sunshine going again.
Oh man, summer
is here. It's hot as hell. Like, it is new. Like, things. I'm trying not to complain about that. Not complaining, just stating facts, but practicing the mindfulness. I mean, what other business can you go into where you can get a client who could potentially send you 15 deals a year that you can make some really good cheddar off of here? So practice the gratitude, practice like the mindfulness of, you know, we got it pretty good. Like,
well, mindfulness takes me to like a woo-woo. All of a sudden I'm thinking yoga studio, I'm thinking some guy on a hill meditating. That's not, I mean, it can be that, and that's part of it, but I think it's just being aware of your thoughts. Like being able to hit the pause button and say, wait a minute, is this real, or is my amygdala, the part that makes me aware of threats, overacting a little bit? Or now is it assigning this little negative? We talk about the windshield, right? I can look through the windshield, and that little bird poop right in the corner is so annoying to me, especially if I just got it washed, but over time, all I see is the bird poop. Because I focus on what we focus on expand. So it allows you to change the station and take a brief pause from your brain running everything and say, wait, is this real, or is this my bias taking over? So just awareness of the bias helps because it creates a little bit of space. And then you go out for a jog, or you just walk around the block, or just walk outside and walk right back in. Change your physical state. And when you move, your body gives you endorphins. It's the body's opiate. It gives you dopamine because it's the reward hormone that says this is good, do this again. So dopamine is like a little high. You feel like better than the cortisol, right? So you literally change your brain chemistry with simple techniques. Another one is to take a look at what's good. So when you're in the barrel, or you're down in the dark pit, or you're spiraling like we tend to do in sales, a lot of us salespeople, you know, we're spiraling out of control. Take a second, take a deep breath, and count 5 things that you're grateful for. My car started this morning. I ate hot food. I woke up and I wasn't in the wilderness. I had a place that I was sleeping with a roof over my head. Oh, I had a bed.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning, right? There's so many things that we can look at, the basic things we tend to take for granted and count them among your blessings. And that is just like, okay, well, that is evidence to me that I've been hooked up in the past, right? I've got food, I've got shelter, I've got friends, I've got loved ones. So that's evidence to me that it can happen again in the future. And that's the beginning of faith. And faith over fear is how we overcome this negative bias.
And another thing too that we talk about a lot is like, tell yourself positive affirmations. Give that positivity back to yourself. Like, we are badasses. We make things happen. Like, you make it rain here. You have a place to provide for your family in San Diego. Give yourself some positive affirmations, whether it be writing it down. Like, I have one that I have written down that I put on my fridge because I go to my fridge a lot. So, in the morning when I'm making my coffee, pulling out my creamer, like, go and get snacks. Like, I out my fridge a lot. And I see this positive affirmation that I have written out on my fridge, and I can see that every day to remind myself, like, today is a day to be grateful. 150,000 people do not wake up every single night. You could go to take a nap and a blood clot in your leg and don't wake up from that, and you just didn't know. And like, we have this all around us. So to be grateful and have those positive affirmations and to tell yourself, like, we got this. We can push through this day. Hey, we went to bed, it was a crappy day, we're on to the next one. Like,
you can build these types of things into a morning routine or part of your day, or when you're having an issue and you're being pulled into that negativity bias, you can say, okay, well, let me think about the last 5 sales I made. Because you're saying, I make sales, right? There's observable evidence of the fact that you've made sales. And what steps did I take to get there? Okay, well, I reach out to people, or I direct message that person, and then they said, oh, my sister, or you know what I mean? And so how do they create those opportunities? And before you know it, you're laying out the steps to your next sale. So for us, we call on a closing, we call on an opening, we call on a listing, we call on a sign, or we get referred somebody, and we follow it up and set up an appointment. And all those steps led to a relationship, which led to title orders for us, right? So now it just successfully explodes. I have reproducible steps to get to what I'm desiring, which is security, comfort, stability, and more sales. So now, since I've given myself the steps, all I have to do is execute. I just got to take the steps.
You got to take off those dark Ray-Ban glasses with the super dark lenses and switch them for your rose-colored aviators and be like, I got this.
And put your tennis shoes on and get moving, because you know what? The best way to distract the brain, which is giving us this negativity filter, is to get into action. Because when you're doing something and you're helping others and you're making sales happen and you're doing outreach, or you're helping somebody else and tutoring them and mentoring them on how to do something, guess what you're not thinking about? All the stuff that's wrong. You're not thinking about your BS.
Right, and there's so many scientific studies that have gone on about, so many people think we need to have the motivation first, to have the action. We go to a seminar and all of a sudden we're all motivated. Let's go. And then 2 days later we're like, what was talked about in that seminar? Well, it's because we have it backwards. We have to take the actions first. We have to take those first steps. You have to already be in action, in momentum to get that motivation, because when you're feeling good and you're pumped, you're motivated. That's it. You're not motivated when you're on the couch eating bonbons, watching Vanderpump Rules. Like, you're not very motivated in that segment. But when you're up and you're taking action, and you take 1 foot out to get to the gym, or you take 1 foot into making those calls that you're like a little hesitant on to make, but once you start making them and you get some good responses and you're back in action, then you get the momentum and you're like, I can do this all day.
Yeah. So I mean, be mindful, move your body, get into action, get grateful, and then have an accountability partner. Like, we're really, really lucky on this team. We've got 3 of us that any moment, one of us can have a blowout in life, in business, and whatever, but we can come back to the core, and we have people that genuinely care that we can come to and are going to give us reality. They're going to these girls are going to tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear, right? So have an accountability buddy who is taking those steps with you so that you're not alone, because if we move better in packs. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, right? So have an accountability buddy that says, you know what, I'm just having a day, man. Tell me something good. Talk to me. And then get into that action, do those action steps, and before you know it, you're in momentum, and then you're in flow, and now you start getting and reaping the rewards. rewards. People call back. Action causes reaction. Cause has effect. When you take those actions, you will run into opportunities.
Exactly, and it's just about taking the action. And right now, so many of us, to Ryan's point, are a little frozen and a little like, oh, well, the market's this, or there's not enough inventory out there. Like, it's the abundance mentality. We got to switch from the scarcity to the abundance to there's plenty of deals out there. You go out there and you find your portion of those deals. You get your piece of that pie. That's what we do every day. We know that there's people out there that we can help reach out to and help add more value to their business to bring more deals on the scoreboard. So it's
on
like,
us to find them.
It's on us to find them. So it's on us to get out there and go find those opportunities instead of sitting there behind our desk watching the news keep popping up and being like, oh, the world's coming to an end. I guess I'm just going to stop working. Or we're going to see when things change a little bit. Nah, that's the way to get into those dark colored lenses. Yeah. And one of our points here that we took notes, we have little bullet points that we actually wrote out. Well, maybe ChatGPT, who knows?
So many resources
these days to help change your mindset, to change your positivity. And one of the things is limit your exposure to negative news, to negative media. I mean, you can look, it's not far where you can look and see complete negative things around you, which puts us into that scared amygdala state where we're like, oh, okay, this is it. But put on those rose-colored glasses and switch up your mindset. And that's what we're big on, is having accountability to say, like, when I call Ryan and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I just started going in a spiral of this and this and this. And it's like, hey, switch it up. Like, think of all the other people that are out there that love us, that kind of information. So if you need that kind of positivity, hit us up for that.
Well, I mean, for perspective, how many people would love to have our problems?
Right.
Right? Oh God, you got clean running water, you got a shelter, you've got food you can cook and make it hot and eat it. I mean, man, there's millions around the world that would trade that. And I want to thank Rob Dial for being vulnerable, because he talks about a hardship that he went through. And I urge you, go to this episode and message us if you want the episode. It's amazing. But
we'll put it in a link.
Yeah, we can link it on the comments. But what he says essentially is something he went through. But the point for me was nobody gets out alive, and none of us get through this life experience without scars. Mm-hmm. So we've all been through things. Mm-hmm. We've all had low moments, and if you're not in one, you're coming out of one, you're going into one. That there's always altercations or just events in life that bad things happen to good people. So you have a moment where you can define it as the worst thing happening in my life, and this is the thing that I'm going to hang my hat on, is why I'm going to be miserable, or you can make it be the impulse and why it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to you, because it was a hallmark moment that changed you and allowed you to adopt a new mindset to grow and become what we were meant to be. So that's something that he touches on.
Yeah, I mean, he talks about his dad passing away at 15 due to alcoholism, and he said, this is going to be the best day of my life and the worst day of my life. And he took that day to really change things around and say, I do not want to be like that. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to use this to help impact others, where he was in a really negative state. I mean, at 15, having your father pass away, that's some really tough crap. I mean, there's people, we've all gone through death and we've all seen it, and it's really hard to pull out of it. And so for him to take that and say, this is going to be the worst day, but the best day of my life, we've all had those days. So find your scars that make you who you are and turn that into being your push and your momentum to be like, I'm not going to let that define me. That's not who I am.
Well said. And once you go through something and you get through it and you're on the other side of it, then you are uniquely qualified to help people that are right in the middle of it. Think about it. I mean, you can go mentor them, a kind word, and you know what you needed in that moment, so you're uniquely qualified to give them what they may need at that very moment. So think about that. You can be of service to somebody else, which gets you out of all that negative shit. Because helping others, there's no bigger boost than helping others.
Well, I hear Ryan talk about all the time his scars from 2008. He's like, I have those scars. I'm still like twitching from it. But he was able to bring that lens to us and help us get through negative times, or, a low inventory market where these deals are down 30%. And he's like, this is not going to define us. Like, we will push through this. There's going to be another side of this. So, he has those scars, and we're lucky to be able to push through it and have kind of a mentorship to help us get us out. So find somebody who's lived through what you're going to, see what they're on the other side of, listen to podcasts that help bring you out of that kind of state. And so that's why we love our Rob Dial, our Mindset Mission Mentor.
Yeah.
Our Mindset Mentor went into another thing there.
Media.
That's a whole nother aspect.
That's a whole other video.
So, that's who we listen to. That's who we're in his coaching programs to really help us identify when we're getting into those slips of how we can change it.
Yeah. So if you're feeling negative, look, you're not alone. Okay. As a matter of fact, your brain is set up that way, so it's not your fault, and you're not alone. Have hope in that. If that's the case, reach out. Talk to somebody. Talk to a trusted advisor. Talk to a friend. Tell them how you're feeling and get out of that pit, because it can be overwhelming. And there are things that you can do to combat the negativity bias that exists literally in our biology and our brain chemistry. And we can help you with that. We are stoked to be on the journey with you. And anything that's working for us, we are stoked to share with you. And literally all the way down to morning routines, to just a friendly conversation if that's what you need. Please take advantage of that. We offer and invite you to do so. And until then, the next time, have an awesome weekend. Yeah.
Yes, enjoy, have great open houses, and anything we can help out with, we're here for you.
Good job.
Thanks.
Great work. Okay, until next time. Bye.